Hello everyone, it's mid-July and it looks like we have a couple of ears of the Cherokee white eagle corn that are ready to be harvested. The silks are dried on those ears and they're starting to fill out, although they're not as filled out as the ears that are not yet ready, so we're a little bit unsure of how they're going to look inside, so we're going to look at them together today. If you're here for the eagle corn harvest, welcome. My name is Brian. We're standing in our 150 garden. It's named after the roughly 150 square feet of space that's here, and what's neat about it is that it is probably the average size of many gardens, and we're going to be taking a tour after our harvest and looking at what you can grow in 150 square feet of space. And then we're going to head out onto another garden that we have and look at how it's doing. Occasionally we post short films at the end of the video, and today we have a short film from our recent trip to Kings Canyon, which is part of Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park, and got back from that trip and have a short video to post for you to watch and enjoy. So let's head on to the back where our eagle corn is growing. This is our Cherokee white eagle corn, and it's one that we're growing for the first time, and we're going to look at how it looks like on the inside in a second. But just by going off its exterior appearance, it looks really good. It doesn't feel like it's filled out all the way, so maybe well, the number of silks here is a good indication about how many kernels are in there. So let's go ahead and shuck it. I'm normally more careful because we use the husk later on for making tamales, but today is one that we're just gonna unwrap like it's a Christmas present, because it really is Christmas in July here. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, it's just all white so far. Let's see. We're hoping to see some of that variegated pigmentation on the corn, but it hasn't developed yet. Look at this ear. It's a really nice ear of corn. There's a little bit of that purple that's coming in. Not sure if you can see that. Camera autofocused correctly. But here it is, our eagle corn. Cool. We have some more ears on the stalks there, so maybe we'll see better colors on them next time. So be sure to check back on to our channel for future episodes and postings about the results of this corn. Our eagle corn harvest was a little bit anticlimactic. However, we have more ears of corn on the stalks here, and hopefully we'll find one that has that eagle in it that we're looking for in its kernel. So we'll definitely be posting once we find that. If not, we have some really nice sweet corn that we can either boil or roast, and we have some of the ears that we harvested in a pot boiling. So in the meantime, we're going to take a tour and see how our garden's doing. This is our strawberry popcorn. They're pretty much ready as far as their growth. They're full size now, and we're just waiting on the ears to dry up before we pick them. We have our Roma tomatoes that are coming in. These are early plantings, and this year the tomatoes have not been doing too well because the weather is nice and cool, and it's probably the result of why they're not as big, and that's what we're hearing is happening with many people's tomatoes this year. We have Amarillo Pepper. This is a Peruvian pepper, so anytime you hear ají, that means it's from Peru, or one that they cultivate and use in their dishes. Our seashells Cosmos is coming to their end now, and they are setting seeds, so we have a lot of seeds to collect and grow with. And over down this way, we have this bell pepper that's glowing. It's a rainbow pepper, bell pepper, and I found out that rainbow bell peppers is not really a variety. It's just a seed mix of bell peppers that could be any color. This is a orange bell pepper plant. We have some Anaheim pepper that are forming, and I'm pretty excited about these because growing a good size large Anaheim pepper is something that I've been after for the longest time. We don't normally try to grow things big because the flavor gets washed out, but with the Anaheim or hatch peppers, they are pretty good still when they're big. They're nice and sweet and soft when you roast them. Our Batu Butan Buntan pomelo graft is growing, and we haphazardly rushed through a lot of the grafts, and this is the only one that made it, so very excited about that. That's probably going to be a 3-year growth before it will make us pomelo fruit. We have shishito plants. These are good roasting peppers. They're good for appetizers. We have 6 plants. These are later plantings, so we're going to have to wait on them some more. And we have our succession Roma tomatoes that were planted after we harvested our garlic, and they are doing well. They're making fruit sets now, and with the later planting and the way the weather's working this year, it actually worked out for them better than if we had done the early planting like we normally do and got smaller tomatoes. Speaking of which, we have more varieties here. This is the Japanese black trifle, setting some fruit. And then we have the Kellogg's Breakfast down there. And then I think that's Goldman's Italian, the fluted one in the back right there. Our weather is going to warm up this week, and those tomatoes, hopefully the fruit has set and they'll make it through the warm weather versus getting blossom end rot because they're not happy with the weather. So we'll see. These are Paprika Pepper. It's a very practical plant, and it produces a good number of peppers that we use to turn into paprika powder. We have some fruit up here, but we should have a little bit more down here, but our ducks got in here and stole some, so we have fewer to use. And we have about 6 plants that are growing, and we don't grow too many because what we want to do is we want to make fresh spices. So rather than make a bunch and store, we have small batches and use them at their peak flavor. And our peach tree that's back there that we planted this year, we harvested that mid-pride peach right before we went to go on our camping trip, and it tasted really good. It was a really nice peach with a nice astringent skin, and that's something that I really like. The skin's also very crunchy, so super excited about getting more peaches from that tree in the future. And that's pretty much what we have in this garden. We're going to head out and look at another garden that's out in front, and that's grown with a little bit of a different style and more ornamental with some edibles mixed in there. Before we go to our other garden, we're going to take a quick stroll through this resort garden where we try to grow plants with in accordance to a closed loop system, and that's basically where we use materials and growing medium from just on our property. The only external resource that we use is the city water, and we have things mixed in here, edibles and ornamentals. This is a national pickling cucumber, and it's being trellised by some red bud branches. And we have some citrus. This is a plum tree that's slowly growing. We have flowers like this dahlia. This is a morning sunrise variety. And there are a lot of herbs here. Herbs grow really well in this type of environment and growing style. So we have lots of herbs. one of my favorite ones to use is thyme, and we just let it grow and come out and harvest some whenever we need it. This is a purple calabash tomato, and it's being staked by a branch that we have harvested from one of our trees, and it's being tied to the stake with flax. This is from the blade of a flax leaf. It's a good tying material. You just rip a strip off. It's very easy to do, and you can use it as a tie. So that's our resort garden here, and we'll head on out to the other side over there where there are plants, and that space is relatively new, and we'll check it out. Two plants are responsible for this watermelon patch, and what's different about our watermelon patch this year is that there is actually a lot of space for the roots to spread, good space. This is a soft soil. In previous years, we only tilled about 2 by 2 square foot of clay space from our lawn that's been compacted. Here, this is sandy loam, and we didn't have to do any kind of tilling. This was ready to go, and it's producing large leaves. So if you're growing watermelons, large leaves is going to be your indicator of success. If you get leaves that end up being this size, your watermelon is not going to be looking too good when it grows. So we have more corn out here. So out here we have more ornamental corn. This is the Seneca stalker red corn. This is a nice looking corn with its dark stalks. It's got really pretty glass-like kernels, and this year it's really filling out and it's pushing out more than the husk can cover. This husk is going to be saved for making tamales later in the year. They look really cool, and then they turn the masa a little bit red, so we're gonna get nice looking tamales. And on top of that, the dark color is usually an indication of anthocyanins, also known as antioxidants. So makes your tamales a little bit more healthy and good for you. We have some Sunspot Dwarf sunflowers that are growing here, and these are cool little sunflowers. They make full-size heads when they're happy, something like this, and bigger. Here it's a little bit more shaded, so they don't get as big, but we're growing them in rows, multiple rows, and this is something that with sunflowers that I've always endeavored to do, is to grow a row of them, and we got 3. So maybe one year we'll find a nice sunny spot and grow some really nice big heads of sunflowers. So here is our Klondike striped blue ribbon watermelon that's almost ready to go, and it's a pretty good size this year. I'm really happy with it. I don't think that I want it any larger because this is a good, nice concentrated flavor and sweetness of watermelon at this size. So we're gonna find out together in the coming days when we harvest it and see what it looks like. It's always a gamble or never guarantee if you harvest it too early or not, but the indicators is on the fruit is that it's ready. We've got it covered with this borage that we removed from another area so that it doesn't get harvested too early by someone other than us, because we're out here in the front yard. We have some potatoes that we planted behind our row of corn here, because you guys taught me that potatoes like their roots to be nice and cool. So with the summer weather, we're trying to get a summer planting, and we're going to grow them in a cool area, some place that's protected by shade, because our sun comes this way and we want to give it as much shade as possible, because we have so much scattered light that it's going to grow using that. We have some sweet potatoes here. This has been growing for a few years, and I always enjoy their flowers. They're so pretty. They got this, they're like morning glories. So morning glories are another one of my favorite flowers to look at. And speaking of flowers, we have this flower bed here. It's a triangle in shape, and it's sunken a little bit. We dug down a little bit because the African crackerjack is a pretty tall plant, so we don't want it to overtake the space. It's starting to produce some marigolds here. We have parsley mixed in here. These are extra plants that we just ended up sticking in here. And we have some Dianthus. This is the annual variety. This is the one that we're growing for the first time, so excited to see how that one looks. Another one that we're growing for the first time is a Drumstick Flower. This plant grows ever so slowly. It's continuing to grow. It's not gotten any bigger, but it's going. And we have zinnias mixed in here. This is a Envy zinnia. It hasn't fully bloomed yet, but it's a lighter green flower. We have more corn back here. This is the Japonica striped maize corn, and we're growing it for the streaks of cream, green, and fuchsia, hot pink. Our plantings don't turn out to how the pictures for the variety look like, because we don't have as pronounced streaks, and some plants have no streaks at all. So we're gonna be really selective from now on and plant with seeds that we collect from plants that have the streaks, and hopefully they'll develop over time. This is a tiny gourd from our friend Jim in Missouri. He sent some seeds, and we're gonna grow them here. The plant's looking really good, so we're gonna get these little tiny gourds that look like Christmas ornaments, so that's gonna be fun. More Klondike striped blue ribbon watermelons that are coming in. These look to be a little bit more elongated, and we'll see how they taste as summer warms up and see how they grow. We have more ornamental things. So these are this is basically our curve, so it's pretty cool. It's not straight, not as boring. We have also this is a Utridge blue wheat, and this is an ornamental one. This is a pretty color for wheat, so we have a whole row of them there. We have sunflowers that are growing, and was hoping that they would fill in more, but this is relatively new soil, so the soil community of microbes and bacteria is still building, because this is started with this sandy loam here, and there has not been a lot of life here until recently when we started planting. So I think next year we'll see really cool and tall plants. So right now our corn is tasseling at about 3 feet. I was hoping they'd get to at least 4 feet before they do that. So when they tassel, that means it's probably not going to grow any taller. So that's our tour out here, and our conclusion of our garden tour. Thank you for joining us out here on the tour of our gardens, and guess what was ready in the kitchen as we got back? Our Cherokee eagle corn. It was boiled and it's steaming. Let's take a taste test and see how it tastes. It's got a good texture. It is nice and moist, and it's like a water balloon. You bite into it and it pops. It's not the chewy kind like the golden banana corn. As far as sweetness, it's a little bit sweet. I wouldn't say it's a super sweet corn, but it's a really good corn in terms of texture. So if you like biting into a corn and it exploding in your mouth, this is the corn for you. So until the next video, thank you for watching, and please stick around for our short film at the end. See you next time.